Welcome to a brief software tutorial where I am going to explain to you how to use the Sojourner Truth Library. So, first thing I want you to see whenever you get to this page is that this is the basic layout of what you see when you log into the Sojourner Truth Library webpage, which is library.newpaltz.edu. Now, first thing I want you to notice is that there are, right up here, you can see there is one that says find in our library collections. That is the basic STL catalog. Then you have right next to it, you have the discovery search. This searches any database that the library has at one time. This can get you overwhelmed though. Then you have a databases button. This lets you jump to specific databases that you may want to be using for your research. Right next to it is one called Journals, which looks for specific journals. Then you have WorldCat, which looks at all the databases that we have, or all the libraries that we have worldwide. So if you wanted to see whether or not a book exists in Japan, that's the way to do it. And then lastly, this will get you back to your website. Now, over here on the left-hand side, we have the resources. So I'm just going to click and scroll down, but I want you to see a couple of them. First, let's go ahead and click on the Ask a Librarian. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to open it up. What I want you to see here is that you have a number of different options. You have Text a Librarian, Consult. This is if you want to have a face-to-face consultation. If you want to get their updates, you can follow them on Twitter. You can call them. You can chat with a librarian 24/7. This is the nice thing. You can talk to someone at the library 24/7. It just may not necessarily be the SUNY New Paltz Library because these librarians are all over the country. And last but not least, you can email them. Let's go ahead and click the back button in your browser. That'll take us back to the New Paltz website. There we go. Welcome back. So let's look at a couple other things. If you want some research guides, there are student research guides. So let's go ahead and click on the student research guide. And whenever you get in here, you're going to see a wide variety of different things. You have stuff on developing a topic, locating information. So if you need more information about finding books and articles and videos and images, you can find that right here. You have the evaluate. This lets you evaluate and talks about evaluating sources, how to do citations, and then to get help. And again, you also have the Ask a Librarian over here. So this is a good place to start with if you ever need some help. So I'm going to click back. Okay, other things that it'll talk about. It'll talk about learning at a distance. It'll talk about requests and suggestions that people may have, library collections that we have, the New Paltz Library, its magazine information, library hours, friends of the library. For our purposes, though, we're going to spend most of our time right in here. So I'm going to show you the very first one, which is the Databases tab. So go ahead and let's all click on the Databases button. When you click on the Databases button, you're going to be taken to a page that has all of our various databases in alphabetical order. So let's look at these real fast. So I'm going to click on the drop-down box, and you can scroll through and see all the different possibilities that you actually have. Now, it's broken down by subject area. So I'm going to click on this one that says Communication and Media. I could also, instead of clicking it here, I'm going to click off that. I could click right on the letter C. So let's click on the letter C. When you click on the letter C, it's going to take you to those that belong in that. And of course, the one we're going to be most interested in is this one right here, Communication and Mass Media Complete. Communication and Mass Media Complete is the premier database for communication-related journals. But it's not the only one that could be useful for this class. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll all the way to the top real fast and show you some other ones that could be really useful. First, Academic Search Complete. This is probably the most robust database. It looks across a wide variety of magazines, newspapers, journals. The problem with this, though, is that it doesn't necessarily always have the specialized information, but it's a good gigantic net if that's what you're looking for. Scrolling down, the next one that's really important for us is Business Source Complete. It catalogs over 1,600 scholarly business journals and also includes things from newspapers related to business, magazines, and trade publications. So again, it's a really good database to have, and it's one that we will be using quite a bit in this class. Next, you have eBrary. eBrary is an online virtual library that contains over 100,000 books, many of which are on subjects that could be of interest to this class. Another one that can be somewhat useful is the ebook collection from EBSCO. Again, I've not found this one to be as useful but it does have a few things in it that you may find useful. So I'm going to scroll down. At this point, I'm scrolling down to the letter P, because that's where our next major set of things are going to be located. First, you got psych articles. Psych articles, again, are those published by the American Psychological Association. You also have the Psychological and Behavioral Sciences collection. This includes a wide variety of different types of publications that could be very, very useful. And then I'm going to scroll down here to the next one, which is the Sage Humanities and Social Sciences. This is a collection of 419 peer-reviewed full-text academic journals. And so one thing I want you to notice about this one, and I'll talk more about this later, is that the Sage Humanities and Social Sciences journal, again, it covers things in business, it covers things in psychology, it covers things in communication and media. But none of this information are going to be the full text that you can actually find within our good friend EBSCOhost, which is what we're going to look at in just a second. So those are the basic ones. And of course, here's WorldCat if you really wanted to search to see what the specific books are in the world. So maybe you're going down to the city and you want to see if the public library has something, then WorldCat could possibly be useful. So I'm going to scroll back up and we're going to go to Communication and Mass Media Complete. Let's go ahead and all click on Communication and Mass Media Complete. And the database opens. So this is the basic EBSCOhost format for its databases. So let's look at a few things. This field right here is basically called the search in term enter field. Any terms that you're going to be looking for, this is where you enter them. You can also enter multiple terms. You can also use Boolean logic. So if you want to do a click down real fast, you can use or. So that example, maybe you wanted to look at communication apprehension, but you wanted to look at communication or apprehension, or communication not apprehension. So you're looking for any times that communication exists without the word. But if you want both, then you do communication and apprehension. Or you could just type both of those into your primary search field. You also have the ability to limit your search results by full text. These are the ones that we have full text in only in EBSCOhost, so you may limit some things out that we actually do have full text to. You can also limit it only to scholarly and peer-reviewed articles. You could also come over here and limit it based on the date when an article was published. So maybe you only wanted to look at stuff that was published since 2000. This is the easiest way to limit that. Another important one is this one right here, which is to search within the full text of the articles. When it does a basic search, when EBSCOhost does a basic search, it looks for key terms. Oftentimes, when a journal editor enters these key terms, it may not cover everything. Let's look at an example of that. So I'm going to look at organizational communication. I'm typing it in, and I'm also going to look for the terms job satisfaction. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to click search. So once we click search, you're going to see we're going to get about 77 articles on that specific topic. Now, I'm going to go back to EBSCOhost. Now, to get back to EBSCOhost, there's this nice little button up here in the left-hand corner. You can just click on that, and that'll take you right back here. So we're going to do this again, organizational communication. And again, I'm going to look for click in and job satisfaction. And I'm going to click the also search within the text of articles. I'm also going to click on full text and scholarly just to see what we have. So now we have 624. So we went from 77 to 624. So that's quite a bit of a leap whenever you search within the article and not just the subject terms. And here is actually an example of what a subject term looks like in Blackboard. And this is what that first search looked for. Unfortunately, just because it is a subject term doesn't necessarily mean that all the articles that talk about this are actually cataloged. So you got to be somewhat careful whenever you're doing that. Now, when it comes to EBSCOhost, obviously we have clicked on full text. So that means these are all going to have this link right here. I'm going to show you it and highlight it, which is PDF full text. And this first article is actually Communication Apprehension and Work Alienation, a comparison between U.S. and Mexico. Let's look at that real fast. So let's all click on the PDF full text hyperlink. that's going to open the PDF version of that, and you can scroll through it and read it. You also have the ability to come over here in the bottom right hand corner. You can click on the save button. That lets you save it right to your own hard drive so that you can keep track of that. You can also print it from here if you need to make it larger or smaller. You have that ability as well. I'm going to go up to the top and click the back button. That's just going to take us back into our search results. And so let's look at this, and I'm going to scroll through, and you'll see that all of these that we're looking at right now all have PDFs associated with them because we clicked that full text. Let's unclick that full text and see what we get. Now it gives a little bit different, but not drastically so, because of the database that we are looking in. So you're going to see that we still have lots and lots of PDF full text. I'm going to go to another page, and you can keep scrolling through, and you're going to notice that we have lots of them. So now I'm going to switch key terms real fast because I want to show you something else. So I'm now going to check a different topic called organizational justice. So I'm now doing a second search, which is going to look for organizational communication and the words organizational justice. So I'm now going to click on full text as well to limit it. Oops. And now I'm going to type in organizational justice again. And I'm going to click search, and now it's going to look, and it's only going to show me 83. And again, I'm going to pull up all those ones that have those PDF files. And it gives you a good chunk of information about the idea of organizational justice. Now, if I unclick that, we may see a little bit of a jump. In this case, we saw the inclusion of one new one. So let's say that we don't want to look all the way back to 1988. We only want to look at stuff from 2000. So you can take this little scroll bar right here, and I'm going to scroll it all the way up here to 2000. And then I can just click search. And now it is going to, it should have limited it. I'm going to just type it in this time. Sometimes that does cause a problem. And there we go. It's now limited, so we got rid of a few of them, but this at least is showing us what's the most recent information. Now I'm going to scroll through real fast and see if I can't find a specific article that I can help you. Here's one that I want to look at. So here is an article that is in the Management Communication Quarterly. But notice it does not have this nice little PDF. It has a Find It at New Paltz, because this is a journal that EBSCOhost does not have access to the full text version. But we may still have full text access. The only way to find out, though, is to click on Find Full Text and see whether or not it's in one of our other databases. Let's click on it. When you get to this page, you're going to notice that there's a number of different pieces of information. One, we now know that we have Management Communication Quarterly. You can go to the journal. You can go to the database, and we have it in ABI Inform Complete, or we also have it in that, remember I pointed out the Sage Humanities and Social Sciences, that's that database. Now, one of the nice things, though, is we know we have it in the journal, but we also have a link to the content directly. So I can just click on this link, and it's going to take me right to that specific article. And here we go. Now, when you look at this, what I want you to notice is this right here. See where it says full text PDF, and right next to it in italics it says free to you. That means that this is a journal article that you have free access to. So I'm going to click on it and show you that we do have full access to that. And there you can save it, you can print it, you can read it right here. But I also want to go in, and I'm just going to do a quick copy of this, and I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to go in right into that journal without going through our database. So here we are at Management Communication Quarterly. I'm now going to go back so I can get that title. So I'm going to click on the title here, and I'm going to copy that, and I'm now going to paste it into this thing right here so that we can search for it within the journal. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to find it. And notice right here, look, there it is. It's the same article. So I'm going to click on Full Text PDF and see what happens. And it's getting it for me. Aha! Now it either wants me to know, are you an individual subscriber, or do I want to pay $32 to purchase the article? You should never, let me reiterate this, never need to purchase a research article for this class. We have a number of different ways of getting articles if you need to. So don't worry about that here. If you find this is also why I tell you not to Google things, because you're going to find these types of web pages where they try to make you pay. Whereas, as we already saw over here, you do have access to that article for free already. So you do not need to pay anything to get a copy of that. So I'm going to delete out of both of these and go back into the database here. I'm going to search for one more that I can show you. I'm going to have to probably go to another page. I may end up going into a different database. So let's go into a different database because I'm not finding exactly what it is that I'm looking for right here. So here is what we're looking at right now. The only one that we are looking at is this Communication and Mass Media Complete. However, we can look at multiple databases at the same time. So let's click on Choose Databases. And here are all those databases that EBSCOhost has access to. Remember, we talked just a second ago about that SAGE Social Science and Humanities database. And you'll notice that's not over here because this is not that's not an EBSCOhost database. But for our purposes, let's click on Business and Source Complete. And let's also click on the Psych Articles and the Psychology and Behavioral Sciences collection. And I'm going to now click OK. So notice I've now selected 4 different databases. And I'm going to go ahead and click Search. And now what it's doing is it's literally searching across those different databases, which gives us a really interesting collection that's a little bit more specific that we can actually look at and understand. Now, here is an article from the Journal of International Commerce and Management. It's none other one that we don't have. Let's see whether or not we have access to it. And it is one that we do have access. So you could click right on that article, and again, you would not have to go somewhere and pay for it. Let's see if there's any others that are like that in here. Here's one, Fear in Organizations, again from that one, Journal of Managerial Psychology. Let's see if we have access to that one. And we do. There's the article, and there's the journal link. Here's a last one, the journal from the Business and Professional Ethics Journal. Let's see if we have that one. Uh-oh. We don't have a link to that article. We do have a link to the journal, so let's see what we have. Okay, we don't have any specific years. We do know that they have it, but we don't know much about it. So that's going to cause us a problem to see whether or not it's one that we have. So let's look back here and see if we can get any information. It looks like we only had it for 1 year. So it looks like we only had it for that 1 year in 2007. So we may be able to go get it. But at the same time, though, we don't have access to it. So let's say that we wanted to do this and we wanted to go ahead and get this as an interlibrary loan. Now, first and foremost, if it has the journal here, you are expected to go to the library and get it. Just because we don't have access to it electronically doesn't mean you don't have access to it. It just means in this case, you may have to physically see it. But at the same time, we still may not have it. So you may have to do an interlibrary loan. Now, if you look right over here, you'll see this one right here where it says SUNY New Paltz Interlibrary Loan. Let's click on this hyperlink. It's going to bring you into what is called ILLiad. ILLiad is the largest international database for research articles and libraries. What it allows libraries to do is to search across first the most local colleges and universities, then a broader regional, then the national, and an increasing size of the concentric circles to help you find the information that you want. Most of the articles that you're able to get and that we get through ILLiad probably come within the tri-state area. Occasionally they have to branch out forward. Once I was looking for a video, which is another thing you can loan through ILLiad, and it actually went all the way to the West Coast before they found someone who had a copy of the video itself. I'm going to log into ILLiad. Go ahead and click Log into ILLiad with me. Even though it's not your username and password, it'll just log you in. Let's click. Once you are in ILLiad now, because we clicked on it from within this right here, it automatically populates that information for you. So it has the name of the journal, it tells you the issue number, it has the year, doesn't have an end page number, which is a bit of a problem, but that's because the database doesn't have that. That's not your problem. But again, this is an easy way. All you'd have to do is come down here and click Submit. You can also, of course, if you find one in the back of a journal, Let's say that you're reading an article. I am going to randomly grab my book off the shelf and I'm going to find a journal article that we can look up and see if we have access to it. So here is one. There is a journal called the Journal of Engineering and Technology Management. So I'm going to go back over here to New Paltz. I'm going to click on New Paltz. And I now want to search in journals. So I'm going to click on the journals search. Now, I'm going to type in the name of that journal because it was a long name of a journal. The Journal of, let's see if I can spell it correctly. Journal of Engineering and Technology Management. So there it is, the Journal of Engineering and Technology Management. It looks like we do have it. We have it in SUNY Science from 1995 to present. This specific article that I'm looking at here was published in 2002. So it would be one that we would actually have access to. So I could just click on the Science Direct. So let's click on Science Direct. And it's going to take me into that journal. Notice we're now in yet again another database. And you can see over here on the left-hand side that you can maximize them and you can get to the different issues. I know that I'm looking in 2002, and I can tell you that the page number that this actually came from was pages 25 through 38. The title of the article was An Innovative Science and Technology Commercialization Strategies at 3M, a Case Study. So I know it's 2002, and I'm looking for the very first issue probably. Let's look if we have that. And here is what we are not seeing. Here we go. Issue number 1. So now I know that it starts on page 25, so I can go down here and go, look, there it is. There's that article that I pulled out right in my own book. And there's the PDF file. So that is why this journal search can be very, very useful, because it does allow you to search for specific journals that you found. And I literally pulled a book off my shelf, opened it up to the reference section, found a random journal, plugged it in, and ultimately we found out that we had it. Of course, if we hadn't had it, I could have clicked right back over here on Iliad, clicked this new article request, and filled in the information and submitted it. Notice you can submit it for books, conference papers, theses and dissertations, audio and videotape. Again, the more rare something is, the longer it does take. So the more you need to give yourself a head start to ensure that you're going to have plenty of time to look for all of the things that you need to over the course of this semester. So that is a basic general guide to searching for materials within this Joiner Truth Library. Good luck!